Hotepu bakhanyiselwa. We thank you for joining us today on this video lesson. Today we are looking into astrology and we are looking into the energy of this new astrological cycle, which is the cycle of Capricorn, well, in the southern hemisphere. So basically we are looking at that Capricorn and Cancer. And in terms of Kemetic astrology, we are looking at Set and Nebthet. In terms of Bantu astrology, we are looking at Ntintilili and Nkalankala. And Ntintilili, the seal, is Capricorn, and Nkalankala, the crab, is Cancer. Then Set is Capricorn and Nebthet is Cancer. These are actually the same signs, and that is basically our lesson for today. Last time I did an astrology update, it was so late and it was nearing the end of the cycle, and we do apologize for that. In fact, that is why we made it a point to make sure that we do everything early this time. This video is probably gonna be posted on the 28th. Anyway, this cycle is quite intense, elders. I will not lie. It's a very sensitive time and it's a very dangerous time. Any of us can lose it at any time. Capricorn is Set, and Set has to do with destruction, the ego, blood, right? Hence he is represented by the color red, which is the color of the first chakra, the chakra of survival. So our survival instincts are activated during this time, and we shall see a lot of people fighting to survive. Since the complementary of Capricorn is Cancer, it means we must be extra careful, because now if our emotions are out of balance, then we might find ourselves acting in ways we might regret. In fact, there's this aggressiveness that comes with this cycle, and if it is not carefully channeled and balanced, then this aggressive energy may overcome us. You might find yourself getting easily irritable during this time. You might find yourself being involved in arguments, verbal insults, and physical fights. That's why you must ground yourself and cleanse yourself internally so that you are not easily triggered. A lot of people will be easily triggered during this time. The most intense triggers will happen and people will end up doing things that they will regret. And the thing about triggers is that they don't only make you act irrationally, but they also expose the truth about you. That's why some people are triggered by the truth. And you must notice that when you are triggered, all your masks fall off and the real self gets to express itself. It gets exposed. A person can be known to be kind, for example, but when they are triggered, they themselves forget that they are kind. So their kindness has been a facade, a mask to hide, their true nature. During this time, we shall witness a whole lot of exposure. And I do not know what it is, but people are going to be exposed. They are going to be triggered, and in being triggered, they will be exposed. So look around you and pay attention, because the people who have been pretending will now show their true selves. Some people don't love you, but they act like they love you. Others are acting like they don't love you, while in actual fact, they do love you. So we shall be seeing a lot of, new romances forming during this time. Remember that in the previous cycle, people were hunting, and some were hunting for mates. And some of those people found those mates or will find those mates during this Cancer cycle. We shall see a lot of this happening mostly in the northern hemisphere, where Cancer is dominant. Whereas in the southern hemisphere, we shall see much exposure happening within our leadership, within our relationships, although it also applies vice versa, right, in terms of the northern and the southern hemisphere. So what we should be expecting to see is a lot of exposure about the people we trust. They will be triggered to act out, and when they do, their true selves will show itself. Others will be triggered to take action and express the feelings they've been keeping inside. Others will be exposed for their crimes and will be held accountable. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things happening during this time. Be on guard, stay grounded, and be aware of the lower self. In fact, people will be affected in a lot of ways by their lower selves during this time. So there's going to be a lot of crimes. There's going to be a lot of fights and a lot of conflict, from inner conflict to outer conflict, because when you finally realize the truth about the people who are close to you, you develop this inner conflict where you start questioning your own sanity, your own reality. You start questioning your intelligence. You're like, how could I be so stupid? How could I not see this coming? Set has to do with distraction, so there's going to be a lot of distractions. All the structures in your life that no longer hold value are going to be destroyed. Even some of the structures that still hold value but are no longer beneficial to you, those structures will be destroyed during this time. This energy of destruction can happen in many ways, in fact, so people must be careful at this time. Make sure that you secure your space. You cultivate enough energy to use these influences to your benefit. I keep saying people must be careful because the planet Saturn has entered Aries. This means that many people will be influenced to take action, and these actions will be influenced by Capricorn and Cancer, Set and Nebthet. This also means that people will be taking choices based on their animal selves. Set represents the ego, which is the lower self. Nebthet represents the physical body, which is also the lower self. So this is a very sensitive time. It is a very emotional time. And when people are emotional, they become irrational. Right now, Mars has visited the house of Taurus. Mercury and Jupiter are in the house of Cancer. So our rationality is not as strong during this time. People are more likely to do the most foolish things. You'll see. So it is better we use this time to ground ourselves. This can be done because Set also represents stability. So we can use that energy to stabilize ourselves. The people in the northern hemisphere can use this Capricorn energy to stabilize their emotions, their Cancer energy, since they are dominated by the Cancer energy. Remember, last time I spoke about how the cycle of Sagittarius, Sekhmet, has to do with movement and migration. So that movement is followed by stability, right? In the previous cycle, we were moving. In this cycle, we are now settling in and settling down. On the other hand, this cycle also activates our individuality, our uniqueness, and our personality. All of these are elements of the ego. So you might find yourself wanting to express your individuality even more. Your personality is shining brightly during this time. That's why it's going to be very hard for people to pretend. This is also a perfect time to work with your personality, to observe your personality, and to begin to understand yourself. We are given the opportunity to learn more about who we are. In fact, we may be driven to find out more about who we are. We may be drawn towards finding out more about our ancestry and about the conditions of our birth. People who don't know their mothers and fathers may feel like, looking for them at this time. They may take action in finding out more about their parents, or they may receive a piece of information about their whereabouts, the whereabouts of their parents. A lot of people will be concerned at this time about their families. Others may feel like visiting the graves of their ancestors. Others may receive visitations from their close relatives who have passed on, right? Many people are suffering because of ancestral spirits from their mother's side or father's side. Just like in the previous cycle, we were given the opportunity to do ancestral work. This also continues through this time. In fact, the whole of winter is actually a time for ancestral spirits. This is the time to do your ancestral work. Traditionally, it is also known that winter is the time for ancestral work, imisebenzi. So whatever ancestral work that you owe, this is the time for it. It's the perfect time. In fact, a lot of people will, get such revelations. The whole of winter, in fact, starts off with, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius. These 4 signs are very much connected with ancestral spirits. And the 3 of these 4 signs are directly under the winter season. So this makes sense because during winter, everything dies. And where there's death, there are ancestral spirits, of course. So we still have the opportunity to work with our ancestors and to do the necessary things for them. At this time, people will be affected by their surnames. Those people who have not fixed the issues with their surnames, now is the time for that. In fact, people who have such problems might find themselves being faced with many challenges that are caused by such things. Such people are said to be unruly and emotionally unstable. These are the negative traits of Cancer and Capricorn. Emotions and stability. Emotions and stability are represented by Capricorn and Cancer. Hence, we use the goat for ancestral spirits. Capricorn actually represents everything about Idlozi, as Capricorn is the goat. Therefore, we shall be seeing a lot of sacrifices during this time because it's really the time for that. To fix your surname, to combine your ancestors, etc., you will need a goat. So this also aligns with astrology, right? So yes, at this time, you may be dreaming of goats. And in African dream interpretation, a goat represents your ancestors. At this time, you may also encounter goats along your way. When this happens, you must be able to recognize the alignment of your experience within the current season. It's the synchronicity of the cycle, basically. For some people, it's a reminder of the goats that they still owe to their ancestors. The ancestral cloths that are dominant at this time are these 2 cloths right here, the tiger cloth and the crocodile cloth. The crocodile represents Capricorn and the tiger represents Cancer. Right? Since the people in the northern hemisphere are influenced by Cancer, it means there will be a lot of longing. People will be longing for something beyond them. Others who are emotional may feel lonely and may be longing for a deep emotional connection during this time. Remember, in the previous season, people were hunting for partners. Others are settling in, these new relationships, and yet others have not succeeded in their hunt yet. So they may be overwhelmed by a deep sense of loneliness and a deep sense of longing. This is also happening in the southern hemisphere, yes, most definitely. But in the northern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere is in summer, where the sun is nearer to them. In Zulu, the sun is called Ilanga. which comes from the word langaza, which is longing. And yes, there is an element of longing during this time. Others will be longing for relationships. Others will be longing for sexual intercourse. Others will be longing for connection with their ancestors. Others will be longing for their surnames. Others will be longing for people they haven't seen in a while. Others will long to go back home, especially those who have moved. They may find themselves going back to visit where they used to stay. When you just moved and you're not used to the new place, so you might find yourself revisiting the people you left behind. For some people, the migration that happened during the previous cycle was just temporary. Right? It was just a visitation. Now, the visitor at this point may be longing to go back home during this time. Just like how Nebthet was longing for Osiris, even though she was with his brother Set. It is not only us, the living, who are affected by this longing, but also the ancestors are also longing to connect with the living during this time. That's why there will be a lot of ancestral visitations. The ancestors are longing to be cleansed. They are longing to be acknowledged. They are longing for their children to fix their surnames. They are longing for their initiation. That's why during this time, people will get initiated. Others will find kobelas, and a huge group of others will be initiated directly by the spirit and by their ancestors, whether in dreams or in waking life. I'm saying this because the crocodile cloth and the tiger cloth are for the spirit initiates. Do you see how aligned this is? The crocodile initiate is taken underwater for her initiation. The tiger cloth initiate is initiated directly by her spirit, but not underwater. Right? They can be initiated by forest spirits, mountain spirits, their own ancestors, their higher self, and whatnot. So right now, we are in the cycle of the spirit initiates, and globally so. In the northern hemisphere, we shall see a rising of spirit initiates. People will be initiated by their ancestors on land. The sign of Nebthet embodies the priesthood of the Khena. This priesthood deals with hymns, songs, dance, and sacred musical instruments. So the people in the northern hemisphere must connect with the mystery of song. In fact, when you find yourself being in emotional turmoil, you can use the power of song to calm yourself down. Music and sacred songs have the ability to heal us. Now, for the spirit initiates, this is the time when you must now connect with the power of song and dance. This is a perfect time to host your ceremony of traditional dance, umgidi. There are people who have been undergoing the journey of spirit initiation. Right now, they are at a point where they have to do what we call ukuphothula, which involves ukugida, ritual dance. Ukuphothula is a homecoming ceremony, but it is much more esoteric than that. It is also aligned with the full return of the sun. So we can say that in the northern hemisphere, as they were celebrating the summer solstice, it was basically a homecoming ceremony for the sun. So at this time, you may find yourself doing a ritual dance, right? You may find yourself wanting to host a ritual dance, or you may find yourself longing, to perform a ritual dance. When an initiate goes underwater to be initiated, they come back and they are hosted by other healers so that they can do the ceremony of ukuphothula, and they have to ritually dance. Since we are in the sign of the crocodile and the Ntintilili, the seal, it means the underwater portals are activated. It means there are some people who will be taken underwater. Some may even be abducted. So you may have, in fact, alien encounters in your dreams during this time, specifically the reptilians, like the crocodiles. You might get such visitations, such dreams during this time. If you have some people in your family who have been taken underwater, you must make sure that at this time you must make sure that you stay away from large sources of water, or make sure that you ask before you go to such places. It is a very dangerous time for such people to be around water, because chances are they might be taken, especially if you still owe something ancestrally. Some people are not taken physically, right, underwater, but they are taken spiritually through trances or through dreams or projections. If naturally the underwater portals are opened during this time, one can only imagine the implications of this, since we are actually underwater. This would mean now that our portals here are activated. The seal and the crocodiles are amphibians. They can live both in and out of water. So another symbol for the underwater initiate is the seal, and any other amphibious animal, in fact, like the hippo. Since the water portals are opened, it also means that this is the time for us to manifest. We must use this water to manifest these water portals. We must go to the river and we must speak what we want to see happening in our lives. The earth element is also active during this time. It's the one that's actually helping us to manifest. So we must also go to the mountains and speak our desires to life. And yes, it's the perfect time for this, because there is that longing, that desire to see things happening in our lives. In the southern hemisphere, we are longing for the sun. Right now, our heaters are on because we are longing for warmth. So whatever we are longing for at this time, we are given a chance to now go for it and manifest. And yes, most definitely, some of these longings will come directly from the lower self. So you must be able to overcome some of these longings. And we might find ourselves lusting over people, lusting over food, etc. This cycle activates a lot of sexual energy. In fact, winter signs are actually all like that. They activate our sexuality. You can just imagine, the people in the southern hemisphere are very cold, so they long for each other's warmth. The people in the northern hemisphere are very hot, so they wear less clothes. They want to be outdoors, they want to be out there, they want to meet up, they want to party, they want to celebrate, right? So obviously there's going to be a lot of mating. So we must exercise self-control during this time, and we must use our sexual energy to achieve much higher things. But also remember that the main chakra for this season for Capricorn is the first chakra. So you might also experience some symptoms of this season on your legs. Your legs may feel like dancing. You may experience every now and then some tingling sensations on your legs and feet. You may experience some problems on your feet during this season. Such symptoms for some people will be connected to the fact that they have to dance, and ritually so. You may think you are sick, especially during this time. And when this happens, it means that your ancestors simply want you to dance, especially if your sickness has to do with the legs. So for the spirit initiates who still have to dance for their gift and for their ancestors, this is actually the perfect time. And most of these people know themselves. You know who you are. Some people don't even need to be shown that they need to dance. They can already feel the push towards that. They know what they have to do. Others have already been shown that they have to dance. And yes, we also understand that not everyone has to perform the ritual dance. Ritual dancing, ukugida, is actually quite deep, bakhanyisela. There are people who are spirit initiates right now, and all they need to do in order to activate themselves, to activate their gifts, and to align themselves is that they just need to dance. You just need to host a ceremonial ritual dance. For some people, their ancestors are already activated. Now they just need to come out. They are longing to come out, in fact. And in order for this to happen, they need to ritually dance. Even the sun is dancing in the northern hemisphere during this time. The sun dances during Cancer. In the southern hemisphere, this happens in December during the summer solstice. So for those people, for those initiates who are gonna actually host these ritual dancing ceremonies now, they must also make sure that they host another dance in December during or after the summer solstice. And for those who cannot host right now, for whatever reason, you can actually host this very same ceremony in December during or after the summer solstice. This will also help the spirit initiates to integrate themselves within their community, because spirit initiates are not usually recognized by their communities. Many are not even recognized by other traditional healers. So it becomes hard sometimes to integrate yourself within the context of community. Sangomas know each other, for example, right? They recognize each other. Plus, the community also recognizes Sangomas. You know, the community knows who is a Sangoma and who is not. So this is really another element that the spirit initiates are still missing, the element of establishing themselves within their communities. But I feel this is a very expansive topic and really we cannot cover it here. So back to astrology. During this time, the elements that are activated are water and earth. So it's the water element for the northern hemisphere and it's the earth element for the southern hemisphere. Therefore, at this time, we are using our crystals, and the most important crystal at this time is the tiger's eye. The tiger's eye is very important for all spirit initiates, whether you are initiated underwater or you are initiated by your higher self or your herbalist ancestors or whatever. You need to get the tiger's eye. It's very important to anyone who is receiving direct initiation from their ancestors to get the tiger's eye, right? You can get it in a form of a necklace, a bracelet, a single stone, it's okay, as long as you have it. Other crystals that are associated with this time is the alabaster stone and the hematite stone. The alabaster is for Cancer and Nebthet Nkalankala. Then the hematite is for Capricorn, Nebthet Ntintilili, right? So we can say the alabaster is for the northern hemisphere and the hematite is for the southern hemisphere, but actually you need to get both of these crystals and use them during this time. In terms of the colors for this season, we have red and we have blue. As I said, red is for Nebthet Ntintilili Capricorn, and blue is for Nebthet, for Cancer Nkalankala. This also means that we can get this cloth, the crocodile, in red or in blue, and same thing goes with the tiger. You can get it in red color or in blue. On the other hand, we've been talking about these things and some people may find it hard to actually get them. So we have opened up an online store. In fact, that's what we are working on. The People of the Light accessories. This is where people can now easily purchase these things. For now, we are only selling crystals and ancestral cloths. We have all the ancestral cloths that you need. We have all the ancestral cloths for each and every season. Because every season, every cycle is dominated by a certain cloth. Every astrological cycle has its own crystal. So we are also bringing back the stones and the crystal jewelry, from the necklaces to the bracelets. We are simply making it easy for Abakhanyiselwa to now get these things. We will try by all means to get you whatever that you want. Even in terms of plain colored cloths, we also have those too. So if you want a plain red cloth or a plain blue cloth for this season, we have it for you. Because during this time, we are carrying our hematites and our alabaster stones. We are wearing our alabaster and hematite necklaces and bracelets. We are wearing our red or blue dokes or head wraps. And we are sleeping in these, in fact, so that we align with the same energy in dreams. Another thing that I think would be an interesting topic is how astrology also affects our dreams. In working with dreams and in doing dream interpretations for so many years, I have come to notice that there is a pattern within our dreams, and this pattern is determined by astrology. Well, story for another day. So during this time, we are also using the crocodile cloth. The crocodile cloth and or the tiger cloth. So during this time, we're also using the crocodile cloth and or the tiger cloth when we are doing spiritual work. This will now help us to embody the fullness of the energies and to use these energies in our spiritual work. Even with those people that have altars, this is a time to include these cloths on your altar. You can put a red cloth on your altar. If you do not have, access to these cloths, you can burn a red candle on your altar or a blue candle, or even both. This is the perfect time for that. When we do this, we are aligning ourselves and we are using the power of this cycle to make things happen. Lastly, Bakhanyiselwa, we know that on the 30th, there's going to be a lot of chaos in South Africa. We just hope that this cycle will not affect people too negatively. Indeed, it would have been better if they had chosen to march during a different time. But, they themselves, the people who chose this date, were probably affected by the energies. We pray and hope that people will march peacefully without spilling any blood. The dark ones are also involved in all of this, of course. Of course, they will take advantage of this cycle. They will take advantage of the chaos. They will take advantage of the planet placements during this time. Like I said, this is naturally the time of making sacrifices. So the dark ones may also use the 30th as their day of human sacrifices, performed in a form of the march, the chaos that will be happening there. Whenever human blood is spilled, there are entities that get fed. Since, yes, this is the time of the reptiles, the crocodiles, you can just imagine how active these entities are during this time. Hence, we also spoke about the abductions. We also mentioned that this is the cycle of blood. It's the red cycle, a very energetically favorable time for these cold-blooded entities. So they will take advantage. They will trigger many people. They will possess a lot of people. They will be doing a lot of nonsense right now, just to ultimately feed off the energy. These entities are always hungry and humans are always producing food for them. But every now and then they will create a mass food production where a lot of humans get hurt or they get killed, or where a lot of people are angry or scared. This is when they get fed the most. You can just imagine. So now at this time, we must be really careful. People are going to be arrested during this season. Remember, we spoke about exposure. People are going to be injured. There's going to be a lot of crimes. So we must practice ultimate self-control. We must not be controlled by the lower self. That little mistake can have very dire consequences at this time. Bakhanyiselwa, do take care of yourself. Stay safe. Try to mind your own business. Because at this time, you may be minding the wrong business and, you may find yourself on the wrong side of business. So be careful. Bakhanyiselwa, we've come to the end of our astrological update. Do enjoy the rest of the season. Do enjoy the rest of the cycle. Do ground yourself always. Do connect with the great Mother Earth. Do connect with water, and use these two elements to actually boost yourself into high vibration. And do not forget, we also do have many of these things. If you find it hard to get them, you can just come to us, contact us on WhatsApp, and then send a message, and then we'll take it from there. As I said, we also do have plain cloths. We have white ones, all colors, and we also do have all the ancestral cloths and all the colors that are available. Basically red, white, and black, right? Yeah. And of course there are some other cloths that also do have like the blue color and all those things, so we have that. We can get that for you. For now, bakhanyiselwa, stay safe, stay high, stay blessed. Camaku, Thokoza, Hotep, Bubes.